wanted to take a second to say welcome to Predictions Week. Also wanted to take a second to fix this teleprompter that I wrote a beautiful open to. No, unfortunately, I will just Now, we have made these predictions courtesy of years of experience alongside our crack research staff and a little bit of happenstance to where our parents were born. So for me, it's the Patriots. For you, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. For Brou, it's about 7 or 8 teams. So without further ado, it's time for Predictions Week. Nick, you are kicking us off in the NFC East.
Indeed I am. And I did not expect this to happen because once upon a time, I did pick this team to make the Super Bowl not that long ago. It has the same quarterback. It's got star receiver. But I have been so radicalized by this Cowboys offseason that I believe they are going to finish last place in the NFC East.
Wow.
I think that without Micah Parsons at full strength, they are a bottom 3 defense in the NFL. With the smart numbers, I don't know if I agree with them all the time, but the EPA per play, those types of things. Micah on field, off field, they go from top 3 defense, bottom 3 defense over the course of his career. I also have questions about the head coach. Glad coach isn't here hearing me say that. And I think it's absolutely on the board. They start 0-4. And so for all those reasons, I have the Cowboys finishing last, which means, hey, shout out New York Giants. They're out of the basement. And they're going to have better quarterback play than they had last year. I mean, with Russ starting, and they might at some point go to Jackson Dart. I don't know, but he's looked fine in the preseason. And I think they have a potentially great defensive line that can just win you some games on its own, and a desperate coach. A coach that knows they've got to win, that they have to show some level of growth. So I think the Giants are a potentially frisky team based on the strength of the D-line, great receiver, better quarterback play, but still just 3rd place, not a playoff team. This is a stat that Brou used to love. It's been more than 20 years since a team repeated in the NFC East. I used to hear that all the time from him. It's almost as if he forgot it for some reason.
Oh, I didn't forget.
I don't know. Philadelphia keeps that trend going. They are a playoff team, but I do not think they're going to have the level of success they had last year. The last team to win back-to-back NFC East titles was Andy Reid's Philadelphia Eagles. And contrary to what Kevin Wildes will tell you, Nick Sirianni is no Andy Reid. And I also think the more difficult schedule, the massive losses on defense, and the likelihood that Saquon goes from 2,000 yards to 1,500 yards, still be an awesome year and one of the best years ever after a 2,000-yard season, can cost you a few wins. And never underestimate the power of the curse of Kevin Wildes, let's be honest. The last team that won's going to win, it hasn't worked well as of late. And then at number 1, only team left, Washington Commanders. Listen, I will admit, I'm skeptical of very, very skinny quarterbacks. Maybe Jaden Daniels can change that because he was that good his rookie year. I like their improvements on the offensive line, Greg. I like their improvement. It got Terry McLaurin done today, which I thought was very important. You have Debo. And listen, they spent a lot of money. I don't know how much of it was good money on the defense. A lot of older players, but it should at least patchwork it as they try to rebuild the defense. I think they can win 11 or 12 games, and I think that could be enough to win the NFC East. So I have the Commanders and Eagles both making the playoffs, Commanders winning the division.
Man, that's interesting lineup. I'm going to focus on your first team, the Commanders, because this is a team, obviously, Jaden Daniels, coming into year 2. Typically, always, we talk about sophomore slump. I just don't. I know I said this about CJ. I don't see him having the sophomore slump. He just plays at a calm with a stoic demeanor. However, they did have a ton of close games.
Yes.
Like that were
insane the way they won.
It was
that could have won.
Like to repeat that. Obviously, you don't want a season like that. But if they can find a way to not be in those situations and still come out winning a lot of those games, that this team was going to be scary going into the postseason. But I'm interested to see the Commanders this year.
All right. Well, my last place team in the NFC East is not the Dallas Cowboys. All right. I think the Giants, I think they're much better than they were last year. Like, I really do. I think the defense is going to be potentially special in the future. All right. And I think they're gonna start Russell Wilson, which is fine. But to me, this season for them is about that defense establishing itself as, okay, they're going to be great over the next few years. And then Jackson Dart, when he gets in there, week 6, 5, 6, whatever it may be, 4, him establishing himself as your future franchise quarterback. Like, that's what it's about. I think the division, and I don't have like 3 teams going to the playoffs, but I think this division is so solid and tough that even though they've improved a significant amount, I just don't think they're going to be able to they might get third. I think it'll be close. Like, I think them and my third place team will battle, but I don't think they're going to be like a 5 or 6 win team, but I just don't see them going higher. At number 3, the Dallas Cowboys. I do agree with you, Nick. Look, and money changes everything. If Micah does get a $200 million guaranteed contract or whatever, and I'm sure he will be all smiles. But it just feels like this feels ugly. This feels way uglier than Dak, way uglier to me than Lamar, which I didn't think personally was ugly. You thought it was ugly. He was talking about, going to a different team.
Uglier than Chris Jones.
Yeah, this is like really bad. And obviously Micah's popular on that team in the locker room. I'm sure other players, again, money talks, they're going to play, and they're happy with their money. But to see this happen to your best player, a guy that's popular, a leader, I just think it sets a terrible precedent. And I think Dak will put up big numbers. But I think the lack of a run game, when he doesn't have a great run game, they don't win a lot of games, even as he puts up numbers. So them number 3. This is where I differ with, that's different from Nick too, but at my second team, I got Washington. And I'm going to be honest, I came this close to leaving them out of the playoffs. And I love Jaden Daniels, obviously. I've talked about that. And I don't think he'll go into a sophomore slump. I just think their defense is questionable. I'm going to put faith in Dan Quinn to build it up. They improved last year. I think I'm going to have faith in him to build it up. But what put me over the top, and it just happened this morning, because I really was battling. I said, you know what? I'm going to hold them out of the playoffs. And then when I saw they got Terry McLaurin signed, I think it just seems like it was bad vibes before that. I think that'll make everything much better as far as vibes. He was a team leader, and he's the deep threat that Jaden needs. So them trading Brian Robinson, the running back, I think they got depth in the backfield. Yes. So I do think they'll squeak into the playoffs. And then I do have Philly becoming the first team to repeat in the East since 2004. Yeah. I think for a Super Bowl champion, they have a chip on their shoulder. That's hard to have as a Super Bowl champion. And I think it is. Everybody's still questioning our quarterback. All right, Saquon Barkley, despite the great year last year, is still trying to establish his Hall of Fame credentials. The defense, like you said, Nick, they lost a lot of people. So they've got something to prove. You got new guys coming in there like, I got to make a name for myself. So I think that they are going to, and Sirianni is always seems to be 2 straight losses away from the hot seat. All right, so they have a chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to come out and play good football.
Before you go, real quick, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did I just become the Jaden guy? How did that happen? I didn't. I mean, you definitely. So. Neither one of you guys.
In the playoffs.
I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know.
I kept it real.
Brou was a Terry McLaurin tweet away from having him out of the playoffs.
I think it's still.
Did
coach.
I just become?
No, I think it's still coach.
Oh, sure. But of the three of us
at this table,
I don't know. I mean, raise your hand
you
if you think Jaden Daniels is going to win the division.
You can't lose a guy that you put in the playoffs.
I'm just saying.
It's not like I left him out of the playoffs.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Greg.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not going to go against the Eagles this year, going back to back. I think that's over with this year. Again, the relationship between head coach and quarterback, nobody's talking about that anymore. Like they seemingly, because when you have success, it kind of covers up all the things that we once were talking about. Now, again, they have to continue to have that success. If they don't, that relationship might surface itself again. But the back end, I'm with Brou on this. I just don't think the Dallas Cowboys, even without Micah Parsons, they're so established offensively, and then you add another weapon alongside of CeeDee Lamb. I just feel like offensively they should have enough to put up fights in these games, kind of like the Bengals last year. But the Giants,
I don't know.
Those Giants.
You got them last, right? You got them last.
Yeah,
I do have them last.
I think he has the same order as you.
Okay.
The Giants preseason games are oozing aura out of your television.
They definitely are.
But preseason is so.
It definitely is.
Remember how good Kenny Pickett looked in preseason?
But the vibes difference between Cowboys and Giants preseason.
Yes.
No, I give
they're
you
scoring
that.
like the whole team.
But
like Russ is up.
their talent isn't close to Cowboys.
Jameis is up. I do like the Eagles winning. I'm giving out my predictions.
On
a lot
Friday.
of people think I'm going to, just because I always pick the Super Bowl champions. Oftentimes I do.
No, you pick NBA champions, and now you're going to do it in football.
Well, the Chiefs went back to back.
Yeah, but you didn't pick them either.
I was right about that. But that is music to my ears.
The Eagles, Commanders, the Giants, the Cowboys, missed the playoffs, missed the playoffs 4 times in 20 years, 9 and 8. I hate to say it, but there'll be plenty of F games, F games, F games, F games. Ooh, boom, boom.
My man, my fellas, my guys.
Consistently excellent.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.